ever since I started doing this, there's so many people, so many people who have received scholarships. Now, for the scholarship that I was using, I know of 5 people who are going to Ireland this year from South Africa
No.
on fully funded scholarship, and was born in Limpopo in a village called Majosi. Oh, your dad unfortunately has passed on. I was at the mall at that moment.
Finished studying, like your degree in
Wait,
social work.
yeah.
Social work. Where did you practice it in South Africa? How did you get to go to UK?
And then so going back home. So after that, I started applying for scholarships. I think from 2014, got
What?
rejections, after rejections, until 2019, I applied for the Kada Asmal Fellowship Program to study in Ireland, and then just moved through those stages. And then 2020, I got the scholarship. But one thing I had promised my wife way back was like, I'm gonna make you have a good life. I moved to the UK, then my family then joined me in the UK. There is still a segment of the population who don't know that you can study abroad and don't have to pay a cent. And I also think that I just feel that also from universities, professors and doctors who have studied abroad, they don't talk about this conversation about how did they get them, and most of them they were funded. you know
Hello, colleagues. Welcome back to Career and Corporate Hub. Ngadzina and Fikadani Hlatshwayo. Welcome back to yet another episode of Season 3 of Career and Corporate Hub podcast. I am so excited to have another episode where we're exploring colleagues that are working outside of their home country. So, working or studying. And, in this season, there's quite a lot that we can learn from them, we can get inspired from them. And in today's episode, I would like to explore, someone's career that is abroad. I actually came across this other TikTok video where uh, this gentleman was sharing a lot of information about opportunities abroad. And, in this platform, we share opportunities, we empower. So I thought I should have him as my guest on here on this channel. So, Rodney, I would like to welcome you. Welcome to Career and Corporate Hub.
Thank you, Kodan, for having me. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Which name do you use between Rodney and Rikhotso?
Rodney.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's Rikhotso. Rikhotso is your name, not
my
your
surname.
surname.
Rikoso is my surname. Rodney is my name.
Really? But
Yeah.
Rikhotso is like usually a name.
No, I think it's more of a surname. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay, I'm surprised. But so that's a Pedi surname, Sutu Tswana?
Tsonga. So that's the Tsonga name. Rikoto.
What?
That's the Tsonga name, yeah.
What does it mean?
Um, I don't really know what it means per se. But yeah, it's Rikoto. So I think most people, most especially, while I was in Pretoria, so I like people will say Rikotso, as if
That's how I
like
pronounced it.
the Pedi Sutush name, but it's
Yes. Yes.
Rikotso, it's Tsonga.
Ah.
So yeah.
And I think I know a Tsonga ricotta, but I always pronounce it as ricotta. Like honestly, I always look at it that way. So
Yeah.
ricotta, oh, Rodney. Yeah, I wanted to say so ricotta. So welcome to
Rodney.
Career and Corporate Hub. I'm so excited to be having you and also to be having, a conversation about your career journey. And before we really focus more on the scholarships, I would like to know, or rather, I'm sure my audience would also like to know who Rodney is and, yeah, just your whole background.
All right, brilliant. So like I was born in Limpopo in a village called Majosi. It's next to Hamasia, those places, not far from Guyana. I know that most people, when it comes to Limpopo, talking about Tsonga people think of Guyana. So it's a village between Guyana and Elim, which is about 45 kilometers to Guyana, really. So that's where I grew up. Went to my primary school, Kappa Kappa High Primary School, also to high school, Komanani High School, in the same village. So everything was just centralized in the same village. And then, so yeah, so that's where I matriculated in 2005. Feels like ages ago. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm like, what?
yeah,
Fine, go
yeah,
back. Yeah.
yeah. So that's it. So yeah, so I'm a village boy. Love my village. Um, and even like things have changed. Things have changed, but love
I
it.
mean, you're talking about being a village boy, and in my mind, I'm thinking of like you being in the UK, like literally, like listen to Rodney saying that I'm a village boy, but yet he's in the UK. Is it more of if you take a village boy out of the village, you will never take out the village out of him? Is
No,
that like in that
yeah,
context, or is it
yeah.
like you're okay?
That's the context. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like where I grew up, that's where
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
roots are. It has shaped who I am. So that place remains central, in my being, and irrespective of where I am. So
Yeah.
home is home. So I'm proudly a village boy. Yeah, living in the big cities.
Oh, no, thank you so much for sharing that. So, where did you study? Where did you do your undergraduate qualification?
So interestingly, so when I passed my matric in 2005, so I had applied to various institutions to start my first year in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So I had applied at TUT, wanted to study analytical chemistry because I was doing the science subject in high school.
Yeah.
But in 2006, while I was just looking for admission, the frustrations in January around getting space in there, and then so in
Mhm.
2006 January, so my dad passed away.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah. So it was just the
I'm
craziest
sorry.
of,
Yeah.
of stuff.
So you are looking for a university to study your degree, and then this happens before you get placement.
Yeah. Before I get
Oh.
any admission, so my
Mhm.
dad passed on that very same year, which was just a very difficult, moment. Actually, I remember that in that year. So when he passed on, fine, we buried him that January. If I can just say a bit with you, Kodan, I remember like the day when I received the call. I was in Wonder Park in Pretoria. I was
Mhm.
in a mall. So my uncle, whom I was living with at that time, so he called me like, "Oh, your granddad want to speak to you." Oh, okay, that's all right. And because my dad was sick actually when I was looking for admission, so then he said, I was like, "Oh, your dad unfortunately has passed on." I was at the mall at that moment, so
No, I mean you were 18,
I was
17.
18. Yeah, I was 18 at that time. So while I was at the mall, so the first thing that I did, which is interesting, after those news, I just went to Kum Books and bought myself a Bible. Yeah, yeah,
Why?
yeah,
Why
yeah.
a Bible?
I don't know. I want to believe that at that moment, I'm a
Mhm.
Christian, so I grew up in a Christian family, grew up in the church. I think at
Mhm.
that moment, the only thing that I needed that would give me comfort was God at that time. Just want to buy myself
Mm.
a paper Bible, and then went home, where my uncle's place, and that's why I broke down. So I broke down when I got home, but at that moment,
Oh
yeah.
my. But I'm
But
just thinking of the moment also, like your grandfather telling you while you are not home. Usually you would expect people saying that there's an emergency at home, please come and yeah, try to get you home, and they sit you down to like break the news, but for them
Yeah.
to tell you like over the phone,
Because
um, you know, I'm just like, what went through your mind? Like, also,
yeah.
even now, to think of that experience, maybe, it was not really something to hold on to, because then you went and bought the Bible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Obviously, like I don't really know. Probably, it's old people, and they're like, we gotta tell him. I don't know, like the thinking around that. But of
Mm,
course, like it was not like, where are you? I'm in the mall. Can you go home first and all that? But just broke the news.
yeah.
But yeah. So that was that. Fine, we buried my dad. And then I think weeks later, I got admission at TUT to study analytical chemistry at Soshangube campus. That's where I was. So in that year, they didn't think I would even pass anything actually. That first semester, I think I passed three subjects and failed two. And they're like, oh, okay. We didn't think you were even going to pass any. I was like, but like in that journey of analytical chemistry. So fast forward, because it was a 3-year diploma at that time, so things did not work out well for me. I ended
Mm.
up just dropping out the course, thinking that I don't think this science and chemistry thing this is my thing. No, I don't think I'm cut out for this. uh,
University will humble you.
yeah,
But
but
do
but
you
but,
ever
but
feel like,
again,
Mhm.
but again, like in high school, and um peer pressure of subject, there's always that thing, those ones who study, the physical sciences, look as yeah, there's that also that pressure, but not necessarily looking into like one's ability or capability around, what they'll be able to actually manage. So yeah, so I ended up just dropping out of that course in analytical
Mm,
chemistry.
mm.
So yeah, after that, then I had a gap year in
For
2009.
and how long was the gap year for?
For a year. So I took a gap year for like in 2009, just to try to, just go back to the drawing board in saying, like, what is it that one would want to do really,
Mm,
with my life. And I think in that year, that's where I managed to speak with somebody, who at the time, was a social worker in my village, somebody that I knew, in terms of, I want, what can I do, what I want to do, and what my headspace was at that time.
mm.
And then I decided that I was going to do social work. Um, and
Because of like,
yeah.
what triggered that you
So,
decided to. Mhm.
oh, sorry. Um, so the trigger was, so when I was growing up, from a young age, so my grandmother used to call me, in Tsonga she would say Musamaria, you know, like translated Samaritan. But all those years I never, she would just call me like Musamaria, Musamaria, Musamaria. So it was in 2009 when I went back to her. Now I'm like, tell me, why were you actually calling me Musamaria when I was growing up? You know,
Mhm.
and the
Mhm.
conversation now started. She was like, the reason was because, you cared so much about people. One, you cared so much about your friends, like you will share your toys, like, you will make sure that people in your circle, you shared whatever you had. So that's why I called you Musamaria, or a Samaritan. you know
Yeah.
and of course, like, the person I was, even though like some of the things I will not just realize them, but I care so much about people. I love helping people.
Mhm.
I love seeing people happy, and just doing what I can just to put a smile on somebody's face. So I think from there, that transition to says, you know what, I want to do social work. So that's where now I had to go to somebody who was a social worker, just to understand more around the program, and health, and then applied, got admitted, went to the University of Venda, 2010. um, and then, and fortunately, while just doing like the registrations, there was the Department of Social Development bursary which I was funded, and my journey began, from there, studying social work at the University of Venda.
That's great. So you ended up completing your degree at the University of Venda, I'm sure this time.
Yeah, so from 2010 to 2013, so that's where I did my 4-year program,
Mm-hmm.
completed it, and I think like I've mentioned earlier that sometimes in terms of our capabilities or abilities in terms of what we're good at in high school, my favorite subject while I was doing your science and your mathematics was history.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes I think, Kodani, it's also about that proper guidance in terms of what is Rodney good at. What are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. History
Mm,
was my favorite. I loved it. I so loved history. And I think, like, obviously when I was doing social work, I excelled. I did very, very well. I did very well. And I was like,
yeah.
why all this time? Why did I waste my time? This is me. This is my life.
It's so funny when you get that aha moment. It's just like, why was I going around,
Yeah.
like for things that are not serving me right? And I actually wanted to ask if you deciding to drop out, not doing well in analytical chemistry had something to do with your dad. But I think you like explained it when you said you did not have, any interest in like the maths and science stream. You had more interest in, like history. But I would like to also understand for somebody who would like to go into the same direction, and this is like for somebody maybe that is still in high school and their parents are forcing them to go for science and like science stream, like what would you advise them, and also what would you advise the parent, because parents play a big role also in choosing the careers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes with parents, if a parent wanted to be an engineer or a medical doctor, and they couldn't do it, so sometimes they just think that the child will achieve their dream on their behalf and become
That's true.
that. And I think it's all about looking at what the strength of the child. I think that's central, really. And that, obviously, when parents are actively involved in the academics of their children, they will get to understand that what are the strengths, what are the subjects that they are good at, what is it that they are passionate about. Because I think sometimes we, because of the societal pressure, sometimes I want my child to be this, my child to be that, but it's all about what is it that you are good at, what are your strengths. Is are the your history, your geography, and all those programs. Is it the natural sciences that one is really good at or passionate about? So I think that's where that transition should be. And and just to be honest with children, because sometimes children, they want to make their parents happy. All children want to make their parents happy, and sometimes even if they're struggling, they just want to keep pushing. And whereas things are not working until they reach a breaking point. Just like me, like when I noticed, I know what this, your physical chemistry, your chemistry, these things are so difficult. I can't do it. I think it's also like just being realistic that it doesn't mean that I'm incapable of achieving anything, but this is not my line.
It's
These
not
are
for
not my
you.
strength. No, it's not for me. You know.
Yeah. It took you only a year to realize that this is not for you, and you decided to drop the ball. Like, what really gave you that, bravery to say, I'm done? A lot of people struggle, they fail, 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 and, they still continue. So, what gave you that, like the bravery
Yeah, um, I
to
mean, I mean, that
quit?
when you are struggling in university, I think most people will either get academic exclusion, which I did not get that. But obviously, like now,
Mhm.
when you are struggling, it means financially that will also become a strain. You know, and then
Mhm.
it's also a question of, you know, will people support you with something that you're struggling with? Or is it better to focus on something that you have a chance to succeed in it? So I think it is
Mm,
those elements that there is the financial element to it, and also there is that part of saying, is this really worth it?
mm, mm. You started at the University of Venda. Jamba zori like zvinoni yakonoamba Chivenda.
No, no, like Chivenda ndo ndichichihamba even before ndichiya even simply because my biological mother ndimuvenda, so I'm half Venda, half Tsonga.
I can literally hear the way it's so clean. Ah,
Yeah, no, no,
okay.
ndihamba Chivenda ngamani.
Oh,
So
nyamba zvauri ndichiri ngadzina ndifikodzani hlatshwayo, you just like, oh, okay, yeah.
yes, ndazvifa zvote, ona chiri chine
Oh,
atichifi. And
ah,
to
that
add
is
on that,
amazing.
like musadzi wanga ndimuvenda also, so it's
Wow. No wonder when I came across like your videos on TikTok, I was drawn to like you have to come to my podcast. Just saw that connection, the vendor blood connection.
yeah. So yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
I'm 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 both sides. So yeah. So
yeah.
those
So now
chromosomes.
building up to where you are now. So you finished studying like your degree in psychology, no,
Social work. Yeah.
social work. Where did you practice it in South Africa? How did you get to go to UK?
Okay. So yeah, I did practice in South Africa. So maybe like just before I get there, just a bit. So while I was doing my degree, so in 2013, so I was awarded an exchange program together with other 10 students from in the social work department, to go to Germany for 2 weeks. It was an exchange program just to get a better understanding of how social work is practiced in Europe, and also looking at in our context. So yeah, so and they were looking for that academic excellence part of things. So yeah, so I also got that opportunity to visit Europe at that time before at the final year of my degree. And then so after that, I worked for the Department of Social Development on internship. So that's when I started practicing social work. And after that, I worked for a private company in Pulukwani as a social worker for 4 years until 2019, around October. And then from November, I joined the Department of Social Development until 2021, August.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that experience. I think it really um like looking at it from you finish your degree and then I'm already jumping to, where you are now. But like understanding that build up, the experience that you have also, it's kind of like make one understand the career that or rather the career roadmap that you've traveled to get to where you are now. And I also look at how you also articulate yourself. It's also like shows a lot of experience as well. So after then, like with your last experience, what happened like in between?
You mean like academically or the work
The When did the move happen?
to the UK?
Yes.
All right. So 2020, yes, yeah, the thing is it's a bit of a mix. So when after I completed my degree and
Mm-hmm.
having that experience of going to Germany for those 2 weeks, I think that was a turning point of some sort, because the exposures, I told myself that, you know what, I need to experience the world. I think that was it. I was like, I need to explore and experience the world. And then so going back home. So after that, I started applying for scholarships. I think from 2014,
What?
got rejections after rejections after rejections, until 2019. I applied for the Kada Asmal Fellowship Program to study in Ireland, and then just moved through those stages. And then 2020, I got the scholarship. Um, so yeah, so that was in 2020. I was still working, and then so
Yeah.
because there was COVID time, so they said, oh, so you can decide if you want to travel to Ireland during the 2020 academic year, or if you want to defer your scholarship to 2021. right?
Mm,
And for me, it
mm.
was a prayer answered because at that time, my wife and I were expecting a baby.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was like
Yeah.
just God answered prayers. So I deferred
Mm,
my program to 2021. One, it was
mm,
COVID time, yeah, it was just started. And then so 2021, then I took up the scholarship. That's when I resigned and went to
mm.
Ireland. Um,
A lot is going through my mind, when you're talking about your wife, you and your wife expecting, you applying from 2014 until you get the scholarship in 2019. I mean, when you get married, a lot changes, but it seems like in terms of what you wanted to achieve in your academics, it did not change. What scholarship were you applying for? Like when you wanted to move abroad?
yeah.
What
So I
type of
was looking.
which qualification?
Yeah, so I was looking to do a master's program abroad. So I think like part of my goals was that I just want to experience education abroad. So that was me. Like I as like if I say I've achieved what I want to achieve apart from my career goals, but academically I
Mhm.
need to have that qualification from somewhere apart from my own country. So that's where the dream was. And I've said to you that when I went to Germany, because it was an academic exchange, we had students from Hoch University, I mean
Mm,
Holzminden, Germany. So that exposure, it just wants you to have more and more of that. And it was my first international trip, mind you. First time on an
yeah.
aeroplane, international. So it was something positive, for me. So that's
Mm,
why now I was like, for master's program, I need to do it out of the country. And I think that's where
mm.
now the dream started to apply. And even when I got married, even before my wife knew about that while we were dating, she knew that like marriage happened, but the dream did not change. I was still
Oh
focused
my
on the
gosh.
dream.
But you get to move with her, or she stays at home while you finish your master's?
Yeah. So with that program, so they only fund the candidate. So and for
Oh,
for master students, you are not allowed to bring over family. But
yeah,
I think
because you're a student.
you're a student. Yeah, you're a student. So that was actually one sacrifice that we had to sit down and
Mhm.
talk about it, and the fact that when I was awarded the scholarship for the 2020 academic year, and when I deferred it. So we had another year to actually prepare for this. To say this is
Yeah.
happening. I can't. It's something that I've wanted for so long. And I
Mm.
mean, getting an international scholarship is not easy. The competition is so high. So it was like this my one time opportunity to get this. And then yeah, so I left left them there, and then at some point went back home. But one thing I had promised my wife way back was like, I'm gonna make you have a good life.
Ah, that is so beautiful because it's always scary when a partner goes away to pursue their dreams and you are left behind. It feels like you have left me. Yes, I may have like an opportunity for me to continue with what I was doing, but then at the same time, it's like you're leaving me hanging. But yeah, I think those discussions are always hard, honestly. I mean, I remember when my husband got an opportunity to work abroad, it was not an easy discussion to have in terms of whether I choose to go with him, and
Mhm.
not have a job, or I stay in South Africa and continue because I was also growing like in my career. So it was
Yeah.
not a like an easy discussion. And when you've got kids as well, you also thinking like the kids must have their daddy here. So now if I stay behind, that means that I'm gonna stay behind with the kids and you go without us. So it's really not an easy
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, it is not an easy thing. I
Mm,
think like sometimes it's just an issue again. Just looking beyond the now. If you know what I mean, just looking
mm,
ahead. That like what will this mean in the next 5 years? If we make this
mm,
decision. It's not an
mm.
easy thing, but I believe that life is a risk. If you avoid all risks, you are avoiding life itself. So.
That is true. If you don't risk it, you'll never know what's on the other side of
You
the.
never know. So
Yeah.
I went there, studied, got my master's, first class honors. So it was
Mhm.
also worth it. I mean, like, yeah, got cum
Yeah.
laude.
And where are you now? Where are you now? Because it's 2021, now it's 2025. Where
So
you still in the UK?
yeah, because I was in Ireland, I was studying in the Republic of Ireland. So after
Ah,
the
yes.
yeah, the Republic of Ireland, yeah, because there's Northern Ireland, yeah. So after the program, I went back home, but already I had a job. Like, I had a job around April before I could complete my program in August in the UK. So I had applied for the UK social work position, which I got. So they said that, oh, okay, if I told them I'm still studying and so forth, they're like, oh, no, you can start in December 2022. So after, yeah, after
Wow.
my studies in August or early September, I flew back home and spent like
Hmm.
3 months at home preparing visas for the family, everything. And then around November, because there was graduation, so I traveled first. So I went to Ireland to graduate, and then after that, I moved to the UK. Then my family then joined me in the UK.
Oh,
Um,
that is beautiful. That is
yeah,
really beautiful. That sacrifice is like now paying off at the
it's
end
paying off.
because
Yeah, it is. So
not
yes,
a lot of people keep that promise, and for you to keep that promise to your wife, I'm sure she must be in a very happy place knowing
yeah,
that she sacrificed for you to go away, because some spouses will tell you it's either you stay or we go together, and together sometimes it's not possible, like
yeah,
when you're going as a student. And I also see like God intervening, like it's like
yeah,
everything works out so well, from you completing in September, going home to spend time with your family, having to prepare the visas and everything for your family with them,
yeah,
because sometimes you would finish and then you start immediately. But now, like the job offer, like, had to happen at a later stage, I think, which really works out quite well.
yeah.
So, yeah, congratulations. I would like to
Thank you.
congratulate you on that. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
really an amazing story that a lot of people don't see such fruits at the end, because living away from your partner is not easy.
it's not.
That's
Definitely not.
not easy.
It's
Yeah.
not easy. Yeah, it's
But how
not.
do you find the UK? How do you find the UK compared to Ireland?
I love Ireland. I still love Ireland. I think it's like where I was, because I was in Galway, County Galway. It's actually, by the coastline. It's just a beautiful place. So chilled. It's chilled out. But of course, like where I am now in the UK, in Exeter, it's also quite very nice. It's not a big city. I don't do well with big cities. I don't like big cities. Too much business. Your Dublin, your London. No,
Yeah.
I just like the laid back type of environment, of which
Mm,
it's quite good. I like it. My family likes it.
mhm,
It's safe,
mhm,
and then yeah, like it's all right. It's all right. It's all
mm.
right.
And how is the demography like in Ireland and also in like UK, the area where you are? Like, are they like a lot of people like us?
Yes, of course. Yeah, they are like, because I'm in the southwest of England.
Mhm,
So yeah, so people are. It's just good. There were very few people, because most people will be in the Midlands. Your Birmingham, those places, and going towards even London. That's where a lot of like, Africans or Black people will be. But even this side now, there's quite a number of people. There are quite a
mhm,
number of South Africans also here. Might be white South Africans or even Black South Africans. But yeah, so one is able to make those communities actually,
mm,
just to connect with people, and the food, of course, can have
mm.
access to our own African food. And so yeah, yeah. Yesterday I was talking with somebody, was like, so what do you eat? I'm like, no, I eat everything that you guys are eating back at home. So I was like, oh, so you're not gonna have reasons to come back. I was like, I will come back home because I want to come home, not because I miss the food. I'm eating chicken feet. I'm eating, your
There's
gizzards,
it.
yeah, and archer, yeah, just tin fish,
No. Where
yeah.
do you? Where do you get all these things?
No, like there are shops that sell these things, you know. Like for example, your Amazon, your Millimate, you just get it from Amazon. So like everything, your Muhodu, like like
No
yeah,
way.
like everything.
I
So
wish I could have that. I haven't had like, I don't know, like for me to get a lot of things that I was having at home. For an example, maize meal. I can't get like the maize meal from home. I
mm,
bought maize meal the other day and it tasted like flour.
mm,
So I was like, no, this is the maize meal I'm looking for. And I even looked, I went to look, I was like, is this not flour? Is
yeah,
this, yeah. I wish I could have that experience
we have
because, yeah,
everything.
now,
I mean, Amazon
oh,
sells Iwisa, your Iwisa maize meal.
who
Yeah,
are who are these suppliers that are just like, UK, South Africa, we are
yeah,
one. You must have all the brands. That
we've got
means that
everything.
the
Yeah.
like people from South Africa must be a lot in the UK, hey?
Yeah, yeah. So there's also like I think about maybe 100 kilometers from where I live. So there is a butchery that just sells South African stuff like the meat, the wors. You know, that's where we go and buy the wors. It's just like
You at home. You won't even want to come back. Because, like, I mean, like the only thing that maybe would make you want to come back is the visa. But UK, you can also get like a permanent resident,
yeah,
like
after 5 years,
a
yeah. Um,
citizenship. I think, yeah,
yeah,
after
they could,
some
yeah,
time. So,
yeah. So indefinite
yeah.
indefinite leave to remain is after 5 years, and then after that you can apply
Mm,
for your British citizenship and stuff. Yeah. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
look
food
at God.
wise, food wise, no. So when I go home, like in
Yeah.
January, I had gone home with my daughter. So
Mm.
it's just going home to see family, not food. There's nothing to do with food.
Oh. No,
It's okay.
I really, I wish I could say that. I mean, when I go home, I've got a long list of food that I want to eat because I'm just like, I haven't had this in a long time, and
Yeah.
I really want to have, like a little bit of everything, like acha. Oh, I miss acha. Oh my
Mm,
gosh. Yeah. So now let's talk about scholarships. Why do you care about spreading the word about different scholarships? Is
okay.
it because of then, like what you mentioned in the beginning, that you really love to help people? Like, what is the main purpose for that?
Okay. All right. So I'm one person who believes that if
Mhm.
somebody is able to achieve something to a certain degree, you
Mhm.
know, they should not be proud to say, oh, I'm the only person in my village who has studied abroad. I'm the only person in my village, who has got, a master's degree from University of Galway. Now, like if I'm able to break in something, then other people should be able to reach there, because it's not about me. It's all about us, empowering each other. And the fact that there is still a segment of the population who don't know that you can study abroad and don't have to pay a cent. And I also think that I just feel that also from universities, professors and doctors who have studied abroad, they don't talk about this conversation about how did they get them, and most of them, they were funded. So it's also just bringing that awareness to say, there is an opportunity for you to can study abroad fully funded, don't have to pay a thing. And also, Kodani, because in South Africa we've got few universities, and for students to get admitted in those universities, just a fraction of students who will pass matric will get admitted in universities. Most of them, they just fell through. But then now, if there is an opportunity that people can also explore outside the country, and
Mm,
apply for this scholarship. So that's where for me it comes in and says information is out there. We're not gonna gatekeep this information. I've done my part.
mm,
I got a scholarship. That I don't want other people to struggle the very same way that I've struggled, because I had to do it myself. But to say information is out there, we're gonna give you the information. What you do with it is entirely up to you.
mm.
Yes,
That is
and
so true.
yeah, and I can also safely say, ever since I started doing this, there's so many people, so many people who have received scholarships. Now, for the scholarship that I was using, I know of 5 people who are going to Ireland this year from South Africa
No.
on fully funded scholarship. And one lady from Nigeria that I spoke to 2 weeks ago, it's like, oh, thank you so much for your tips and everything. And this is it. That's it for me. Like, People must get, we must not gatekeep opportunities. No, that's
Mm.
not my money. It's, so sharing
Yeah.
information for somebody to go
Mm.
and apply, and they only have to apply and then take it from there.
Mm.
So that's my heartbeat. I'm passionate about education. I'm passionate about elevating other people, so that people can do better for themselves. I mean, we know that in South Africa there's unemployment rates that are skyrocketing, but I mean, my argument is, if now you're unemployed, you've got an honors degree, and then you're gonna wait looking for a job, you don't want to attempt other things, then what what's the difference? So it's just to say, just shoot your shot. I always tell people on TikTok, I'm like, shoot your shot. You've got nothing to lose. Apply for these things.
Yo, you know, a lot of people that are coming into this podcast, talking a lot about, stop victimizing yourself, saying that there are not jobs in South Africa and you fold your hands and do nothing, whereas you could go and study your masters in other countries because there are quite a lot of scholarships. And, I would also like to find out these scholarships, where do you see them? Like, how do you go and research? Do you go and, like, where do you get this information? Because it's like almost every day you're coming up with like different scholarships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, for South Africans, as an example, there is the Department of Higher Education and Training website that they share scholarships in there, from time to time. So that's one other avenue. However, other things is just going to your search engines, your Google and whatever search engines, and just searching for international fully funded scholarships that can be available. There's also this popular website for masters and PhD. It's Find a Masters or Find a PhD. Then they will just show you the fully funded scholarships that are there. Some of them may be projects from universities that you can just rock into those programs. So the information is there. There are also those popular scholarships that I know now. There's a list I know that every year, they are sharing information. So you just continue to share that information. But most importantly, it's just searching. It's just going to search engines and see what's available out there.
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about search engines, one would be scared of getting scammed. So, how can one validate, or how do you validate all these scholarships that you're finding? We're not talking about moving from, one province to another. We're talking about moving from one country to another. Way in some countries, you even need like a visa. I actually saw in one of your latest videos where you were talking about, this other country that now needs South Africans to have a visa to go. I think when they go there, yeah.
Ireland,
How
yeah,
do you really
it's Ireland.
validate?
So because most of these scholarships, they are also tied to governments. So the embassies, to verify, embassies are also the best route to take. For example, if there is a scholarship about, let's say it's the Ireland Africa Fellows Program, it's in Ireland, it's funded by the Irish Aid. So to double check this, it means that you can even email or contact the Irish embassy to says, is this for
Mhm.
real? And also and also with websites, like if whether it's a secure website or it's just some dodgy websites, your HTTP, the S for secure, those type of things. And then but most importantly, if it's scholarships and somebody's unsure, I always recommend that people should check with embassies.
Mm,
Says like, is this religion, just to avoid issues of human trafficking, people
mm,
going through
mm.
these different.
That's why I'm asking, because we
Yeah,
do have that where people are getting trafficked. You're thinking you're applying for a scholarship, and only to have find out that you are selling your soul away.
yeah.
So it's also quite tricky. But I
Mm.
like the advice that you gave, that you should contact the embassy. There was one scholarship that I once posted where South Africans were being offered like a scholarship to work abroad, and a lot of people raised concerns that there were people who were stuck. I'm not sure if it was like during the Russia and Ukraine fight, that they were stuck and the embassy could not help them. How can we make sure that, embassies support us? Is that like the reality that you've heard like stories where when support is required, then the embassies are not able to help? Is that possible?
I'm not sure really around those in terms of you know what would have been maybe the reasons why they couldn't support maybe if students were stranded, because of that I know like with the Russian Ukraine war there were issues around think of you remember like there was an issue about when people were being moved to Poland and stuff, and then they were prioritizing others and all that. But I'm not sure with scholarship like how will that affect, because normally suppose like there is a Chevening scholarship for the UK for a master's, which is also like the UK government and stuff. So I would want to think that if that organization is offering these programs and people will be stranded who are supposed to be supported by this scholarship, that somewhere somehow there should be some support put in place. So I think it's a bit hard for me to comment in terms of like what would have happened around those issues and challenges. But with most scholarships that I know, there is support put in place for the candidates that will be in that country. The same as the scholarship that I've used, we constantly had support. We constantly having seminars just to ensure that everybody's well-being, was taken into consideration. So yes, I think that was an unfortunate situation with war happening, and you know
Mm,
because I think Kodan with embassies, I think when they have to, yeah, people have to be transported from one country to back home. I think there's usually some issues. I think there's so many stories. I think people who have been stranded somewhere where the embassies will be like, no, we're not gonna pay for flights, we're gonna do this. So yes, I think it's a gray area if I can just put it that way.
mhm.
Yeah,
Is it
but
more maybe like a contractual issue, or rather just that you were not brought here by the embassy?
it
You were
could be
brought here by the scholarship
by
of
the scholarship.
this country.
Yeah.
So how do you then become a responsibility to take you back when there are issues? Is it
Mm.
maybe probably
Yeah,
something
it,
like that?
I think it could be. Although like there are
Mhm.
scholarships that are tied to the government. Like for example,
Mm,
there was a Funda Germany scholarship for bachelor's, master, and PhD that closed a few months ago for South Africans. So because South African
mm,
government is funding this, I want to think that if anything will happen, because this is their baby, if anything will happen to the students in Germany, I want to believe that the embassy will take responsibility for the students, because it's them who are
mm,
funding it, it's them who took them there. So I think, like you've said, it could be the issue of, oh, we are funded by this government. It's not a government thing. It means they need to sort it
mm,
out,
mm, mm,
if in case there is a challenge. But I think normally with scholarships, when now you sign a contract of undertaking the scholarship, there will be those terms and conditions of in
mm,
these situations, what will happen. So yeah.
mhm. And let's talk about those terms and conditions. I look at me working abroad, looking at like an contractual agreement. There are few things, or rather, a lot of things that are covered. Security, health, and also if I were to die here, with the scholarship, like what is it what's covered there?
All right.
Like.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So with scholarships, I prefer fully funded scholarships. For one
mhm,
reason, that most of us would not even be able, if it's partially funded or 50%, it will not even cover the rest of the fees because they're expensive. But what they will cover your living allowance, your monthly living allowance, depending what they are offering. And they will also cover medical insurance. And they will also cover those repatriation in case something happens to you, so that they take the responsibility to take you your body back home. And whatever will actually be required of you. So when they are fully funded, whether it's visas, everything is just covered, for you to be there in that country for whatever period. So with some scholarships will be strict to say, when you complete your program, you need to go back home. Like the Chevening scholarship will say, you need to go back home for 2 years before you maybe you can decide to return to the UK. Some scholarships will just be silent in that just it's just an issue of empowering you with skills and knowledge, and then although like the main purpose is to go back to your own country and give back those skills, but sometimes it just becomes difficult that what the country that is supposed to give back the skills, they don't have the space for you to give that skills into. So it will just depend mainly, but most of them is just the terms and conditions will be you need to conduct yourself in within the confines of the immigration rules. If you do this, it's going to be a breach of scholarship. So it's just going to be those basic expectations from them around what the do's and the don'ts with this scholarship. But over and above that, you just need to go and do your work and study. If you fail, then you might be taken back home.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the failing, obviously, when you are there, you need to really work hard. And I would ask myself if there's somebody who leaves their country and not really work hard. But yeah, that's like a story for another day. And I would
Yeah.
love to also understand, are there any situations where somebody goes and study, like as you're saying that there are some clauses on the contract where, like, after studying, you should return to your country for 2 years. Like with those clauses, for an example, you go back to your country with this qualification that maybe the methodology that you learned in varsity is not something that you can apply it in South Africa, for an example. So you basically can't really use your qualification. Or maybe I'll just make an example with like medical. I know with like medical boards, there are some countries where your qualification may not be um, it may not be possible to use it in South Africa. Are there any scenarios like that? Because I would like people to be very careful when they get into this contractual agreement and not to get stuck. And I think this is really, like an important conversation actually to have. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. So with scholarships that I know and come across, so they are linked with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations Vision 2030. Those 17 goals, depending on which field one comes from. So like usually it means that, for example, the Ireland Africa Fellows Program. So the programs that they have are to address those sustainable development goals, meaning that they are in line also with South Africa's, development goals. So it wouldn't be that somebody will be you get a scholar. I think also sometimes, Kodan, it's you should know why you're going to study this thing. I mean, if somebody who leaves Africa and to go and study robotics in China, and we know that China is so big in robotics that you can actually work and do well in China in terms of how far they are, in that space. But maybe to find that, when you go back home, mm, it might not be that easy to be able to penetrate into that space. So I think sometimes it's on individual. Why do you want to go and study this thing? And also, like you've said, trying to do that little research that says, in South Africa, like this medical practice, is it allowed? Is it, will I be able to practice it, or I will also be able to do it elsewhere? And then now I want also to add that, it's all about what is your plan. When now you go and study this thing, what is the end goal? What is the plan? Do you want to go and study in France and then explore opportunities in France or in Europe or anywhere else? So it will also be dependent on why are you studying this. How do you want to actually use it? Um, yeah. Can I take
I
my
like the why.
my-
No problem.
yeah?
No problem.
I see that, yeah, this laptop is about to switch off.
I had that thing. The battery warning, low battery
Yeah.
warning.
Oh, there we go. All good now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah. So I think it really, yeah. So one should know, because with even with interviews, they will want to
Mm,
know, why do you want to go and study abroad? It's a big question. Like, what's the end goal for you? So I think like
mm,
that's when, now when a person knows that, okay, I want to go and study this thing, this is what I want to do with it. And then this is how I'm gonna give back to my community, if that's the case. So I think
mm,
that's where a little bit of research is also needed. Like you've said, when once will this be recognized or not? And then
mm.
really take it from there.
And the why is really profound because in every interview, that why, like, why are you applying for a job? Why do you think you're the suitable candidate for this job? Why do you want to study here? It's like really something that is asked everywhere, but a lot of people have never really dissected to say, why are they asking me why? It's more of a, okay, maybe I must like have an answer for a why, but not
Mm,
necessarily something that is aligned with, with my future goals, with my future plans. So I really like how you like, like bring in the why, because a lot of people just want to do things without really understanding the why, or they just follow what other people are doing, but without really understanding their own why. Whereas the other people, they've got their strong why they're doing things. So thank you so much for sharing that also. Yeah. And what other, tips do you share, like apart from scholarships? I see you also like really go into details about the scholarships as well. So in most of your videos, you also mentioned that if you would like me to break it down for you, let me know. And yeah, you must be a lecturer.
I, you know, yeah, I have my ambitions of going into academia, actually. With that, I think, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm patient. I'm patient with people.
Yeah.
you know I'm patient with people. So yeah. And I think, like, speaking about that, I, because of just like the things that I do around scholarships and education, my passion with it. So there's an institution in Malta, in Europe, um, who have offered me a fully funded scholarship to do a master's in project management, or MBA. So I'm, yeah, starting this August. So I'm still thinking about it, to accept it or not, because will I have the time to do it? And it
Is
means
it?
that if I, pardon.
Mhm. No, I wanted to ask if it's part time. Like how does it work?
Yeah, it's part time. It's online. So it's an online master's program that they've offered me. So they have this new, they call it, sort of like an influencer program, that they've just come up with it. That's why they reached out to me, because of the work that I do on YouTube. So I used to do YouTube, but I just, yeah, I have a YouTube channel with like almost 6,000 subscribers. I just don't have much. Oh yeah, I just didn't have much time. I started on YouTube before I moved to TikTok, but I'm still gonna get back to that one. So they want me to do that, and just be able to, document my journey, in that
Mm.
masters, online and stuff. So it's fully funded, but yeah, I'm still thinking of it, whether to take it or not, because I was thinking,
Yeah.
a third masters. I'm like, they want a third masters. So, I
So
don't
you've
know.
got two you've got two.
Yeah, I've got two masters program degrees. Yeah. So yeah, so I've got a master's in sociology, that I did
Mhm.
through UNISA, and also the master's in gender, globalization, and rise, from Ireland. So yeah,
Wow, that's huge. You're in academia.
I try.
And now a third one. A third one. I've
Yeah.
got a mentor who's, I think, my mentor is also on like their third master's degree. And I'm like, when are you doing your PhD? Like, oh, not now.
Yeah, I think like
Yeah.
sometimes it's also about just getting that knowledge from different things. My lecturer
Mm,
in my first year, Mr. Ndamp, he will come to class and says you must be generally wise, so that when you are in a room full of people, you must not be left out. You should be able to relate with everything that is going on. So so I love learning new things. I love,
mm,
exposing myself to different, you know, um, areas. I have
yeah.
also in the past just received some partially funded scholarships from the United Nations to do some courses. So just like now I just feel that I don't have much time to be dealing with this. And some scholarships like I can't apply for them because I'm not gonna do another master's, and with
Mm,
PhD I'm just still thinking I wanted to do a PhD, but the university that I applied they said they didn't have capacity in terms of supervision, so I'm just putting that on hold. I'll see,
mm.
but maybe I might take another master's. I don't know. Um, so
Yeah. And I mean, looking at also like the master's degrees, what would you advise someone when they're choosing? I mean, I wanted to do like MBA, and I thought maybe it's not relevant when I look at the direction that I would like to go in the future. Maybe I should do a master's degree that is aligned with what I want in the future. But at the same time, it's like completely like in a like just different stream from what I'm currently doing. Like, what would you advise someone like when they're choosing?
yeah,
Or what would you advise me?
yeah. You know what? One thing that is different between the master's programs that maybe we have at home and the master's programs that they have in Europe. I'll talk about the University of Galway, where I've studied. So their master's programs are interdisciplinary. So I was studying a master of arts in gender, globalization, and rights. So like this is just a mixture of gender studies, of globalization, economics in it, and then human rights. So it's one program with different streams. So by the time after that program, you are so much clued up with so many things, with different areas, wherein somebody would have go to do a master's in human rights, another
Mm,
master's in globalizations, economics, and whatever how the world runs. Another
mhm,
person go do a master's in gender studies. So I did one master's with these three disciplines. So that's the other nice thing about them, because if for example you'll find a master's in in cyber security and psychology, you're like, oh,
mm.
okay. I thought that we do psychology focus. Now what are we doing with cybersecurity? So that
Like, where do they fit in?
yeah, yeah. And
Mm,
again, it's also even like things that are relevant, because sometimes we'll have programs that are just outdated, like what is the world facing today? And what are we addressing that is a need today? So it's also just important in terms of like where is the world moving to? Because it's pointless to the world is moving this way and then we're like, oh no, we're gonna go the other side.
you go the opposite direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all about like where are we in the world today? What are the needs? And I think like that's where now that's the direction that we take, around the master's program that we will choose. When I was talking with my younger brother, we were talking about, like, oh, like some being offered is either I can do an MBA or a project management. I was like, don't do an MBA, no, at least do project management, because there's so much opportunities, in the marketplace to be able to manage in terms of projects and other things that are it's those conversations that you have with people, and they're like, oh no, no. But obviously like somebody can say, no, 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 do an MBA because of 1, 2, and 3, which may be relevant and make sense. So it's all about
Mm,
like what makes sense to you now. And then if you have got this
true.
program, what are you going to use it for? Or it's just going to sit and collect dust and those skills are not transferable to wherever one needs to be. So I think it just depends on what people want to do, really. Like some people I know, will be asking like, which course should I do? I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know. Uh,
I can't choose for you.
Yes, you are trying to you decide. You tell us what you want to do and why. And I think, like you said, Kodan, is the big question: the why.
Yeah,
The why.
yeah,
Because once we answer the why, then I think then we should be able to move forward. Really. Um.
yeah.
So that's
So it's
that's my
almost,
take. It's a difficult question that you asked, but that's my take.
no, you've answered it well. You've really answered it well, and I like the fact that I mean, you are
Social worker.
a psychologist or a
Social worker.
socialist, a social
So
worker.
So,
Yes,
so
but
maybe just to add a little
Mhm,
bit there. So when I came here, so I was working as a children's social worker in children's services. So I've
mhm,
moved now. I'm working in adult services as a mental health social worker now, and that's the role that I have
mhm,
at the moment, which I started last year. So I'm 1 year in the role, um,
mhm.
which is quite interesting. It makes me want to go back home and start something.
Oh my gosh. I would like us to have like another segment talking about child mental health
Yeah.
because of the space that we're in, digital space, how it's affecting their mental health, where they don't engage a lot with people, they engage a lot with digitals. So it's almost midnight and I must go to bed because I'm clocking in tomorrow morning. I would like, like from the conclusion for you to break down what somebody should have in order for them to qualify to go work abroad. I mean, to go study abroad.
All right. So most scholarships, to study abroad, they are for masters and PhD, but there's also scholarships for undergraduate, your bachelor's degree. So usually what they will expect from you will be you should have your passport. If you want to study abroad, you should have a passport. So you should get yourself a passport, and then for bachelor's degree, they will need your metric certificates and all the references from teachers and principals and all that. But for your masters and your PhD, they will need a bachelor's degree, which is an honors equivalent or an NQF level 8, and then they will need good academic record. Usually, it will be from at least from 65% upwards. That's where people will be able to be funded. They will also need a personal statement. You will need to motivate why you want to go and study abroad. That's very important. I call the personal statement the cream of an application. In terms of why do you want to go there? Is the why that Coden and I have been talking about today. The why you need a scholarship. So they're gonna need that, and of course the recommendation letters from your lecturers and your supervisors, or even if you are working. And some of the scholarships would actually be for mid-career professionals. They will be specified that you need 2 years experience, but not all of them. But when you speak about experience, it can also be voluntary experience. Some people are, they are volunteering at church, treasurers at church, financial accountants, and all that. So that's also can be um, what do you call it, experience. So in a nutshell, that's what they would require from you. But most importantly, is good grades, and also the motivations,
Mhm.
and your recommendation letter. So if somebody wants to go and study abroad, make sure that you collect all the required documents, speak to your lecturers and supervisor for recommendations, because those ones will come in handy. And some of the scholarships will have age restrictions, because now they are targeting you're 30 and below. So most of us who are on the other side, the chances are a bit difficult. But I always say people should apply when time still allows, and before things become very much difficult. And then, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. We are in the era of AI. A lot of people would go and put in like a prompt where AI would give them a motivational letter. Do
Yeah.
you support that? What would you say, when it comes to such instances?
No, I don't support that. Somebody will just go to your Copilot, your Chat GPT, for to get your motivation. Mind you, scholarships are looking for unique stories. They are looking for you. They're not looking for some some AI thing. They want those unique stories about who you are, where you come from, what is your story, what is unique about you, what is special about you, because it is also not necessarily about academic excellence. It's about the impact that you want to make in the world or in your community. So it's unique stories that, if somebody grew up in Muledani there, and doing this, and like, it's unique stories. So Chat GPT or your Copilot, they don't have those stories. And again, with these organizations, they have got tools to can pick up that this was actually taken from an AI tool and stuff. So I like, people can use those tools to brush, to brush it up and then make it, sound good, but the context
The
and
better English.
yeah, and a better English, yeah, but the
You
story
put a
should
better English, yeah.
remain unique and be about you, because it's a question of, you know why you and not somebody else, and then it's about your
Mm.
story and your experiences that makes
Mhm.
the difference. So yeah.
True. I mean, people are more drawn to people from the stories. Like, how can we help you listening to your story? So I completely agree. And thank you so much, Rodney, for being part of my journey, being part of our journey, Career and Corporate Hub. I'm sure, like the information that you share has touched so many hearts. I mean, so many benefits that you've also mentioned, and also just having this dialogue also, I'm sure it's still going to, like, like the right people, the right audience, the people who really need the scholarships. Well, I
Yeah.
hope they really get to see this interview, because there's quite a lot of information that you shared that is really going to help someone. So I would like to wish you all the best of luck, in continuing to sharing the knowledge, continuing to sharing the information, which empowers us, which inspires us to do better. But I would also like to find out what's next. Do you have any plans in terms of maybe turning your what you're currently doing, because I'm sure you also do consultations where somebody sees like your video, they want to know more about the scholarships. Do you like plan to put it into like more of a business? What are the plans, with what you are currently building?
Yeah. So things that are actually on in the pipeline, and we're just trying to test how that goes. It's around that, because there's so many people who will be, reaching out, and the time is not there. But then I also support people who need that one-on-one sessions, to have that deeper understanding of scholarship. Sometimes it's families, parents coming with their children, just to find out more and just give that guidance, of which we do. So we do have something in place, via through my TikTok account, of course, around when people can just book in, those one-on-one sessions, so that we just try to help where we can, because you can imagine if one has posted a video and there's like hundreds and hundreds of inboxes, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's just difficult just to assist people at that moment. But yeah, so that's really what we're gonna just be doing, and just continue to encourage people and play our social responsibility, and just
Oh,
give
that is so
information,
beautiful. Yeah.
and then people will decide what they do with it. They
Yeah.
won't
And
be
is
the
your
one-
service free now? Like where you get to engage with on a one-on-one?
Say that again.
Your services, are they free where you get to engage with like a, one-on-one, on a
um,
one-on-one level?
Unfortunately, they are not.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they are not free, so it's paid services. But of course, like, in
Mhm.
terms of, that's why, in terms of basic things, something that one can just respond. I responded my comment sections on my TikToks. But of course, like, some of the things I tell people that, this it's more than just texting. It needs people to sit, to have that, that online meeting, and just be able to support. So those are paid services. unfortunately
Mhm.
to some.
No,
Because
I
we
mean, I can
work,
completely
we don't have
understand.
time, we don't have, yeah, we need to. And in the past, we've assisted people, obviously, like, but can you imagine, like, you spend time supporting somebody and people end up not even applying, wasted our time. So that's also,
True.
so those who want value to it, they will have to pay for it.
And how much do you charge?
And it's actually cheap. It's actually so cheap. Because, I have, like, your, what do you call it? Your general chats about, like, 30 minutes chat about scholarships. Like, somebody who wants to get a glimpse of, what are these things. Like, you're talking about, like, somewhere maybe around £10, um, you know, 200 and something. So that's cheap. Sometimes an hour or so, you might be talking about, like, maybe um 20 pounds. It's like 400 rands. So and there are those ones who want applications, like, you to support them with personal statements, applying for them from scratch. So those ones, like, we're charging somewhere around, 1,000, just to do the whole thing, because there are people who be like, oh no, just help me from scratch, let's do this together. So the amount of time that we need to invest in that, write personal statements with them, and yeah, I think my services are quite cheap. Some of my friends are like, no, they're too cheap. You know you do more. I'm like, let's just try to assist where we can, and make a
Yeah.
difference, where people can be
That is
able.
true because I mean, looking at the videos that you share, you like really share enough information where somebody can use that information to apply.
Yeah,
But for them to come to say, "Hey, I don't understand. Like, please help me," it's
yeah,
definitely something that is worth charging. I mean, for me, I look at my experience with consultations. I would offer free consultations, and you book your slot, and somebody doesn't show up.
yeah,
So you don't even update me to say, "Hey, I'm not available. Can we reschedule?" Like you saw, like today, and I would like to apologize for moving our meeting. I was stuck. I had friends also coming from different countries, so we had gone out. So that's why I sent like an email to say, "Can we reschedule?" So for me, that communication is also much better. But somebody would not pitch at all, and you're
yeah,
like, I stopped so many things just to make time for you. So people don't get to realize like that time is money. And if you are giving your time for free, then they should really appreciate that
yeah,
not a lot of people are doing that. And so charging, yeah, definitely I do, agree
yeah.
with you. And also the amount, yeah, sounds quite cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So we just want just to, that people just be able to take things seriously also. And like you said, we've got families, we work. So it's not like there's just time lying around. We try to set things around. So meaning that if I'm spending an hour with somebody and my child
Mm,
is busy, hey, I want, so people also need to understand the value around that. But like you said, the information that I share, actually, it's enough for somebody to go and apply, to be honest. You're right. It's enough. That's enough. The links are there that people, but normally people they don't even go to read the information. They will just come to your inbox like, hey, tell me about this. I'm like, have you gone to and read the guidelines? No. I'm like, go and read. You might find that, like, after you've read the information, you won't even need anything from me. So
that's true. That's true. No, I think yeah, so thank you so much, Rodney.
you're welcome.
Let's conclude. If somebody would like to get in contact with you, when can they contact you?
I think that the best thing is it's via TikTok, which is Rodney Koto, or it's EduBuddy. I think it's quickly to see, it's EduBuddy, and then, yeah, they'll find me there. They can just follow me and send an DM.
Okay. And with EduBuddy or Rodney Ricotto, do you get paid like in the UK on TikTok?
Um, I've not explored that much, but yeah, I think some. Yeah, I think we should.
I mean,
Yeah,
you do have like a huge following and a lot of views. So, looking at like a lot of different platforms that, like YouTube, for an example, that you can get paid. Like, I heard TikTok, you also get paid in other countries, and it just like came to my mind to ask this question: if you do get paid, hmm.
Yeah, maybe we'll
Please
explore.
explore it. You can't be
I
sharing
might be.
so much valuable information, and you are missing this opportunity for getting paid when it's there.
I might. I might be getting paid and I'm not aware because I'm not in. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not following that one that up on that aspect. But yeah,
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Rodney. So, colleagues, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this episode was very much valuable to you. I know it was to me. When he was mentioning scholarships that you can also study part time, I would still like to do a master's degree in something else. And after this call, I am going to ask Rodney how I can get in touch with the scholarships. But other than that, please do not forget to subscribe, like, and let's engage here. Please, let's not engage on WhatsApp and LinkedIn about YouTube. Let's engage here so that you can boost our algorithm, because your engagement really counts a lot. Your engagement count a lot towards the growth, and also when the channel grows, we are able to reach more people that you want to see to come into this platform. You want to see coming into this platform. So thank you so much. Bye bye. Be kind and gentle.